Hi, it's Richard here from Intelligent Advisor IT Consulting with another in our regular series about the example projects for decision services. This week we're going to be looking at the follow-up fees project. This is actually one of two projects, but we'll start with this one and then we'll come back to the other one in a couple of weeks. So as before, just going to the online help and clicking the file will allow you to download the JSON file and then go to projects in your hub and select the file that you just downloaded, and you should be able to import the project. Don't forget when you're importing it to maybe give it a different name with a prefix on it so you recognize it if you intend to import it multiple times, and make sure you import it into the right workspace. In terms of inputs, you can see there are a variety of booleans. So if you can imagine someone's come to your house and inspected your house and then decided that follow-up visits are necessary, and there are different kinds of follow-up visits, and depending on the type there will be prices. So 1 visit, 2 visits, or 3 visits, depending whether it's safety, gas, or electrical, and you can expect to have a different fee in each of those cases. So that's our project, as you can see here. Obviously, the most common use case for this would be to use it from Oracle Policy Modeling as a decision service reference. So we're going to go straight into Oracle Policy Modeling and create a new project so that we can leverage this reference data table in our project. We're also going to demonstrate by the creation of an entity that, of course, thanks to this, we can call it multiple times for different instances of an entity. I will go and grab the definition of the decision service from the references dialog in Oracle Policy Modeling, having clicked reference and a new reference on the rules tab. And when I've selected the right one, I can then begin to, there we go. When I've selected the right one, I can then begin to populate the inputs and outputs of the decision service. And I will say that it is to be executed per instance of my entity called the person. So each person could have a different set of inspections and a different set of prices. So I'm going to go ahead and create 3 matching booleans to provide data for the inputs for the decision service. And I'll make sure that they are all person attributes by including the entity text, the person, in each of them. I just need to make sure that I change them so that they are all different. And then I will also have the additional fee as a person and an entity attribute. And I'll type that in now, and that will be a number. And I'll save my reference. We can just check over on the data tab. You can see that I've created these attributes to match the inputs and the outputs, and they are all attributes of the person entity. Just going back into the decision service, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3 inputs and 1 output, which matches exactly the definition that I just created in my Oracle Policy Modeling project. So let's go ahead and debug our Oracle Policy Modeling project to see if we can get this to work. Now, because I haven't created any screens, it's going to be a bit of a mishmash of me using the interview and also just using the data tab. So let's create Bob. And we'll say that Bob does need that, doesn't need that, and does need that. So he has 2 out of 3. So he has 2 inspections out of the 3. We won't see the result here. We'll need to go to the data tab, expand the relationship, and select Bob. And we can see that Bob has a current price that corresponds to the situation where he needs a safety inspection, but not a gas safety and an electrical safety, which means it's 1,320. I'll go ahead and change this to all true, and we can see that it's now 1,640, which matches the reference data in the decision service. And I'll go ahead and play around with these, and hopefully we can see that because I chose, in this case, there is no safety follow-up, it comes to a 0, because safety follow-up means that the others are not necessary. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's create another instance, and we'll create another person, Janet. And just to prove that this is how this works, we'll give Janet a similar or different set of attribute values. Let's go back to the original one and say that Janet has 2 out of 3. We can see that Janet now has a pricing corresponding to the 2 out of 3 inspections, and Bob, of course, still has the 0. So we are able to see that by linking up this simple decision table, we're able to create a very sophisticated kind of agnostic engine whereby no matter how many different people we have different values for each instance of that person. This is a typical use case for decision services and Oracle Policy Modeling. We'll be back in a couple of weeks looking at the other part of this 2-part decision service. See you next time.